What's going on, guys? Welcome to the weekly live chat. We started a bit early today because I had to go at 6:30, so I only have about an hour today. But there is so much to discuss. UFC 273 in general. Then there's been a lot of talk about Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. Bellator 277 is Friday. It's a great card. Aj Mckee versus Patricio Pitbull. Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson. We also have Marlon Moraes' retirement, which, I mean, some of us expect it, but at the same time, uh, it's just kind of sad, and it just goes to show, how the sport is. I mean, it's an unforgivable sport. So we got a lot to talk about. I got an hour. We're on here early. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Fill the chat up with questions. Whatever you guys want to talk about is what I wanted to discuss. I definitely want to talk about Khamzat versus Colby some more. I'm very intrigued in that fight. There's been some back and forth online. There's been a great poster that someone put out of Colby and Chimaev. I posted it on my Instagram if you want to go check that out at MMA Joey C. And an amazing poster for Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. Whoever made it needs to get paid, and the UFC needs to use it. So, um, it was great. It was a great poster, and I think that's the fight that everybody wants at this point in time. It's a very intriguing stylistic matchup. Uh, on top of that, you have two guys who could potentially fight for a belt with a win. You know, if Colby beats Khamzat, he can make a claim to a third title shot. If Khamzat beats Colby, unequivocally getting a title shot. So, it's a little buffering, but it appears to be fine. But guys, before we get into all that, it is April 13th. I think this is the 52nd live chat I've ever done. Every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this after the fact, remember every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Obviously, it's a little bit early. Right now, it's 5:40, but I need to start early because I have to leave early. If you have not already, make sure to like the stream and subscribe if you're not subscribed. We had to turn on the feature where you can only post in the chat if you are subscribed to the channel. So there you go. Okay, so let's see what you guys are saying. What's going on? Constantly growing. What's going on? French fries. What's going on? Logan. Homework. What's going on? Look, and I'm using StreamYard today, so I can put your messages on the screen. What's going on? Yes, an early stream. I had to head out a little bit early, so I still wanted to give you guys an hour long stream. Uh, French fries says he's doing homework, but have fun. I will, and you can always watch later. Sinister, what's going on? I'm here, just got a shower, won't miss it. Much love, everyone. What's going on, man? I hope you're doing well. How old is Marlon? I want to say he's 33. I want to say Marlon Moraes is 33 years old, but let me take a look. Let's take a look because we're going to talk about him a little bit. Yeah, he's 33 years old. That is insane. And you look at his last few fights. I mean, 4 TKO or KO stoppages. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Less than 3 years ago, UFC 238, June of 2019. So not even a full 3 years, coming up on 3 years. He was on top of the world. He was fighting Henry Cejudo for the bantamweight title. And I actually picked him to win that fight. I thought he was going to win that fight. Um, and in that fight, he was looking like he was going to beat Henry Cejudo. He started to fade, and then he lost. Um, so it's just crazy how unforgiving this sport is. He goes on to defeat Jose Aldo via decision, split decision that a lot of people thought he lost. But at least he didn't get finished in that fight. And he did win the fight on the judges' scorecards. Then he gets brutally TKO'd by Corey Sandhagen in a fight that I picked him in. Then he gets TKO'd by Rob Font, who Rob Font doesn't even have that much power. Then he almost beats Merab Dvalishvili, gets himself back on track. The ref does not stop it. Merab somehow survives. and then Marlon gasses again and then gets finished via ground and pound TKO. And then most recently, getting thrown to the wolves against Song Yadong and brutally KO'd. I actually picked him in that fight too. The chin is just a liability. The really disturbing thing about Marlon Moraes is that I believe he is a elite level fighter still. I know some people might think I'm crazy. I believe that he is still an elite level fighter, but his chin is just gone. His chin cannot survive taking any damage. And when you have an off button on your chin like that, it's just tough. And, to watch him get brutally KO'd in the last 4 fights, I really didn't want to see him fight anymore. I feel terrible for him. If he wasn't going to fight again, I wanted to see him fight Cody Garbrandt. But it just goes to show the unforgiving nature of the sport. And one moment you can be on top of the world, close to a title, and the next, you could be retiring because you've been KO'd so many times and you can't take a shot. If Khamzat beats Colby, will he be over-deserving for a title shot? Maybe a little bit. I have no problem with him getting a title shot after winning over Gilbert Burns. If he beats Gilbert and then Colby, he's done a lot more than any of these other guys to get a title shot in the past few years. Colby, who has Colby beat? I know he's beat some decent guys. I'm not totally discrediting it. He has the win over RDA. But it seems like a lot of the top welterweights are refusing to fight each other. So if Khamzat goes out there and he fights Colby, he defeats Colby, he will definitely be deserving for a title shot. Over-deserving maybe a little bit just because I already believe he could have a claim to it. Was Khamzat versus Burns better than Gaethje versus Chandler? In my opinion, it was. The first and second round of Gaethje Chandler was really good. Third round was boring as hell. It was still an amazing fight, one of my favorite fights of last year, but I think Khamzat Burns was action-packed all 3 rounds. So I give the edge to that one. Let's see. MMA Joey, okay, sweet, thank you. Dixie. Colby 100%. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Thoughts on how Bilal Muhammad has looked suspiciously more ripped the past couple years? I've seen people saying that, man. I'm so tired of, in my opinion, people anytime someone looks in a little bit better shape, we're constantly saying they're somehow on roids. I'm not a doctor. I'm not watching him in the gym. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's been training harder now that he's up towards the top of the division. So I don't have too many thoughts on it. I'm back. I really hope we do see Bilal. I really do hope Bilal wins so we can see his wrestling truly tested, like him versus Colby or Brady. I think we might see some of those matchups regardless if he wins or loses. Production quality is 10 out of 10. Thank you. To be honest, I think Colby beats Khamzat by knockout. I don't know what Colby you're watching, Zach. Colby's never knocked anyone out. I don't even think, I wonder if even in his MMA career, has he ever knocked someone out? I know he hasn't in the UFC, at least I'm pretty sure. So, to knock Khamzat out, no. By knockout, it says he has 4 wins by knockout. TKO due to knee injury. TKO submission to punches. TKO punches. So he has a TKO over win Max Griffin back in 2016. And then he has the TKO to Woodley via rib injury. So I don't remember the Max Griffin, but the other 2 are somebody tapping the strikes and the one had a knee injury via TKO. So I don't know. We'll see. Who would be the fight to make if they had a 170 interim title? Let's say Usman was out for more than expected. Leon versus Khamzat unequivocally is the fight to make. Leon's on a long winning streak. I know the quality of opponents haven't been great, but I still think, he's right up there. It hasn't really been his fault. He's taken big fights, hasn't been able to, the fights have fallen through for whatever reason. Maybe for no fault of his own. So I still think Leon is kind of deserving. Hey, Joey, hope you're doing great. Looking cool, my friend. Thank you, Sanjay. Appreciate the support. The Burns punch in round 2 will KO likely 99% of the roll. I don't know. I think that's a little exaggeratory, but I get what you're saying. It was a hard punch. I think Khamzat is more of a boogeyman than before. He's not only is the wolf, but he's durability's on Tony's level. He's a zombie wolf. Okay, fair enough. I think I'm more impressed than ever after that win over Gilbert Burns. Khamzat just doesn't seem to have a chin. He was dropped in 3rd round fight. Imagine him fighting in a 5-round fight. I mean, I don't. Was he dropped in the 3rd round? I don't remember that. I think he showed off his chin. I think he has a great chin. So I disagree. I think they will put an interim belt on Colby Khamzat fight. I doubt it. Not if Usman's fighting Leon in June, July. Volkanovski has said he wants to fight for the title. What title? The lightweight title? I could see him beat. I think he could beat. I think he'd beat Charles Oliveira, honestly. My boy Bilal will win. Ali fighters always seem juiced up. Okay. I have a prediction video for this Saturday, guys. You guys should go check it out. Lightweight title. So there we go. Okay. Yeah, I think that Alexander Volkanovski has a claim to fight for the lightweight title. I don't know if he's going to get it because you have Gaethje versus Oliveira coming up, and the winner of that fight is going to fight Islam Makhachev. So it's one of those things. I don't know if it happens or not, but it would be very, very interesting. And I think Volkanovski could beat Oliveira. I don't think he beats Islam, but he could. Volkanovski can definitely compete with the elite of the elite at lightweight. So, it's a very interesting, compelling matchup. I still want to see the Max trilogy. There's up-and-coming guys that I'd like to see him fight. Like Bryce Mitchell, maybe if he can make his way. Yair Rodriguez, if he can get on a little bit of a win streak. There's a lot. There's a lot to like at featherweight for Volkanovski. And, he seems game to stay active. He wants to fight 2 more times this year, which I'm hyped about. Okay. We talked about in the Discord, Mckee not re-signing makes me wonder. Makes you wonder what. But yeah, Aj Mckee has not re-signed with Bellator. When you win a title fight, you are automatically extended, usually for 3 fights or 1 year. So he could fight out his contract and go to the UFC. He could beat up Pitbull, move up, take the 155-pound belt, defend it once, and then he's out of his contract. Khamzat needs to work on his footwork and head movement. I would agree, but he still looked pretty good. When Bilal beats Luque, who should Bilal fight? When Bilal beats Luque, who should Bilal fight? Let me take a look. Who could Bilal fight next after that? If he beats Luque, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's say Leon fights Usman and Khamzat waits for the winner of that, then match him up Bilal with Colby. Other than that, I don't know where Bilal goes because he would have just beat Luque. Burns is on a loss. I mean, he could fight Burns, but usually the UFC doesn't like to match up losers with losers. So I guess Colby maybe if Khamzat isn't fighting him. Volk said he wants to fight for the lightweight title. Islam has a weak performance against shorter performance. I think Volk defeats all current top 5 at lightweight, including the champ. Okay, I think that's a bit of a stretch, but I'd like to see him compete. Hold on 1 second. Islam versus Volkanovski. Winner gets the next 155 title shot. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I don't necessarily want to see it. I want to see just one of those 2 fight for the belt next. Let Volkanovski fight Max Holloway, and then let Islam fight the winner of Oliveira Gaethje, and then if Volkanovski beats Max, and then we'll go from there. He did get rocked hard by Burns. His head spun back a little bit. Wonder if he plans on leaving, win or lose. If he loses, his contract's done with, from my understanding, because he will not be the champion anymore. Do you think Colby's going to accept the Khamzat fight? Absolutely not. That's why, and I have that in the title. We'll talk about Chimaev versus Colby a bit. But that's a super compelling matchup. I think it makes a lot of sense right now if you're going to do, Usman versus Leon, which the UFC seems intent on doing. I think it makes perfect sense. But I do not think Colby is going to take that fight at all. I think he's going to make an excuse. And to be honest, I'm not, people are going to call me a Colby hater, but if he does do it, I don't see any other answer than he's scared of losing, because Khamzat is going to be ranked very high. Khamzat is going to have a win over a legitimate opponent. Khamzat could get him to a title shot. So what other possible excuse could Colby have not to fight him? If I'm Colby Covington and I'm looking at the welterweight division and I'm confident in my ability, and I get it, it's fighting, anything can happen. There's no other fight I would want than Khamzat Chimaev. It's probably the biggest payday. It can get you the furthest. If Colby goes out there and beats up Khamzat Chimaev, you don't think that could propel him to another title shot? It easily could. Far more than a win over Gilbert Burns, who just lost to him, or maybe a Leon Edwards coming off a loss to Usman, or, who else is he going to fight other than maybe the winner of Bilal versus Luque? Colby beating Khamzat Chimaev, who's now ranked number 3, by the way. If he beats Khamzat Chimaev, that's way more credible for a claim to a third title shot than anything else. The real question is, will Colby accept the fight against Khamzat? Dana wants to see that fight ad on ABC. He's going to turn it down. I'm already calling it now. I hope he does accept it. I hope he proves me wrong. To be honest, I think Leon instead, both are undefeated. I think Leon should fight Leon instead. I don't know. Leon and fighting Leon. I don't know. Get what you're saying. Guys, by the way, if you haven't already, do me a favor and like the stream. I would greatly appreciate it if you liked the stream. Next opponent for Burns, Shavkat. Haha, that would be crazy. Stop it. Stop it. You guys are wanting to sacrifice Burns to anyone. This is random but funny, but when you look back to cards 3-4 years ago, fighters in the prelims, early prelims are top 5. Yeah, that's how it's been for years. Honestly. You look back in some cards, you'd be like, oh, this guy, he was on the prelims. And now, I remember seeing Max Holloway live on a card on prelims, and I knew he was going to be good at that point in time. Okay. To be honest, I think Khamzat versus Leon is the fight to make. Both are undefeated. It's a fight that was attempted to be made, a few times. For me, that fight is still very compelling. Very, very compelling. I think Bilal has secretly bad chin. He gets hurt kind of often when he faces power punchers. Fair enough. Joe, your streams are my favorite. I'm going to take a blinker right now. Cheers. Okay, thank you. Whatever that means. Even though Burns cheated, chill with giving him Shavkat. Give the man a big fight next. Come on, man. Come on. Those shots to the back of the head were just in the heat of the moment, and it was only like 2 of them, 3 of them maybe. Give Gilbert the credit he deserves. Fought an absolute killer, ranked outside the top 15. And Gilbert Burns deserves some credit. Okay, real quick, before we get into any more questions, guys, keep posting questions in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. But let's recap UFC 273 real quick. Let me pull it up real quick, just so I can remember exactly what happened, even though I do. So main event, I'm going to be honest, Alexander Volkanovski, Chan Sung Jung. Wasn't super pumped going into it. But, it was even worse than I could imagine. It was non-competitive. And for me, Korean Zombie should have never been in there. He had 1 win over Dan Ige. That did not earn him a title shot. We should have waited for Max Holloway or somebody else. And I honestly, after watching that beatdown that Volkanovski put on the Korean Zombie, he just doesn't belong with him. He doesn't belong anymore at the elite of the division. Max would beat him up, in my opinion. He already lost to Ortega. Korean Zombie, he's getting up there in age a little bit. It might be time for him to go. And I hate to see it because I love the Korean Zombie. But that fight really put a downer on my night. And I think I told you guys that on the post-fight. Just to see a guy that I love in the Korean Zombie just get brutalized repeatedly every single round from round 1 on, non-competitive. You guys hear me talk about it a lot. But, when certain fights are talked about, I say, I don't want to see that fight. It's not going to be competitive. And this was one of those fights that was really depressing because it was so non-competitive. Did anyone even think during that fight as it was going on, like, this is not gonna this is not good. Korean Zombie's not turning this around. Was anybody 2 rounds in and say, yeah, Korean Zombie's still in it, he's got a chance? No, not at all. Sad, disturbing. I never want to see Chan Sung Jung in a title fight again. I'm sad to say. Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan. I have not had a chance to rewatch it. Most people are saying that first round was very close. I'll take their word for it. I still need to see the trilogy. I don't want to see T.J. Dillashaw get a shot. I don't want to see Henry Cejudo get a shot. We need the trilogy. And after watching that second fight, I am even more confident in picking Petr Yan in the trilogy fight than I was in the rematch. Now, maybe that's a hot take, but I need to see that trilogy. I think that's the fight that needs to happen. Petr Yan rematched Aljamain Sterling. There was a canceled fight. He took a short notice Corey Sandhagen, which was a massive risk. Now he lost a razor-close split decision. Give him the third fight. I get that it'll always be there, but I don't like that weird looming over the division. That's the fight that I want to see. And if Aljamain beats him again, regardless of how it goes down, then it is what it is. Then we move on to T.J. Dillashaw Cejudo. Let T.J. and Cejudo rematch at 135 for the number 1 contender spot, in my opinion. I think that's the fight to make for the number 1 contender. And, give Petr Yan his trilogy fight, in my opinion. Oh, sorry, hold on. And then we already kind of went over Khamzat Gilbert Burns, last night, tonight. Crazy fight, back and forth fight. Khamzat Chimaev, I have a whole dedicated video on what he showed me in that fight. And he answered a lot of questions in that fight, and he looked incredible. Gilbert Burns looked incredible. It just showed the level of disrespect that he got. And he really shouldn't have been getting that type of disrespect. People were calling him a bum. We don't need 5 rounds because Khamzat's going to run over him. That wasn't the case. It was a very highly contested fight, and it was a great fight. Mackenzie Dern, Tisha Torres, neither one of those are ever going to be able to win a belt, in my opinion. Not much to talk about there. Mark Madsen, Vince Pichel. I have no words for that one. Okay, so let's go back to some questions. We kind of went through them a little bit. How do you think Leon versus Khamzat would have went down now after seeing Khamzat fight a top 5er? I think it would be a very compelling fight. Right now, gun to my head, I would probably say Khamzat out-grapples him. Maybe wins a decision. But I think Leon's the superior striker. So it'd be very interesting. That's a compelling matchup I still want to see. Yo, what's up, Joey? Thank you for providing me some entertainment while I'm on the clock. Thank you. Thank you for watching. That's what I meant. I don't think Colby is scared of Khamzat. He has a grinding mentality and knows his cardio is top notch. He went 1 hour toe-to-toe with Usman. He's not scared. Okay, that's fair enough. I don't know if he's necessarily scared, but I don't know if he's going to take it. And if he doesn't take it, I don't know what to say other than that. Gilbert Burns versus Nate Diaz. That could be kind of fun. Gilbert Burns deserves a reward. He tried to soccer kick him. He tried to kick him to the body, in my opinion. I just think it looked bad because Chimaev was kind of moving a little bit. How do you feel about Chris Barnett? I watched him on the regional scene in my hometown before he got caught up in the UFC. He's a fun addition to the heavyweight division. I don't know if he's ever going to do much, to be honest. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things where the heavyweight division isn't very deep, so he could have some success. Do you think the Korean Zombie wasn't in perfect condition? Supposedly he was injured. Supposedly he was injured. He couldn't fight in April. Then all of a sudden he was getting a title shot. So I think probably. What do you mean? The stoppage with Zombie was on his way back. Fair enough. Do you have an early pick for the co-main and main of UFC 274? Yes, I do, Antoine. I am probably going. I definitely wait. Let me make sure I know the co-main and main. I know the main is Oliveira versus Gaethje, right? But is the co-main Ferguson versus Chandler, correct? No, it's Rose Carla, and then Chandler versus Tony. Okay. Early prediction, main event, almost definitely going with Charles Oliveira. Not 100% sure yet, but as always, the week of the fight, I'll do a full breakdown and prediction. Co-main, I probably got to go with Rose, but Carla Esparza, I mean, the wrestling ability, and Rose still has some issues being out wrestled, you know? So I see that as a very competitive fight. I could change my mind on that one, but I think I'll probably go with Rose. What about you guys? Who are you guys taking? Early stoppage should have last TKZ go out on Shield, especially with being his last title shot. I hope that's a joke, but if it's not, fair enough, I guess. TKZ said he was considering retirement, but the translator did not say. Yeah. No need for the trilogy. It's getting old. I disagree. Torres versus Dern was a solid women's fight. I enjoyed it for sure. But for me, sometimes it's a little bit of a damper when I just see atrocious striking and you look at the head of the division, you know, and you see Rose Namajunas. Neither one of those girls, you know, Tisha Torres she's just very well rounded, but just not really particularly good at anything. We still need to see 5-round Khamzat. I agree. I wish Burns versus Khamzat would have been 5 rounds. Bilal versus Gilbert, who would win? I'd go Gilbert for sure. I'm very confident in Gilbert with that one. Gilbert is just so well-rounded. I don't know if Bilal's going to want to take him down and hold him down. And then on top of that, I think Gilbert's the far superior striker. Do you think Cowboy will beat Joe Lozon? I have no idea. Honestly, I might pick Joe Lozon. I don't trust either one of those guys. Torres should have gotten the nod, in my opinion. People aren't mad because they call about the call because they weren't paying attention to the fight. We're probably chatting with their friends. I paid attention to the fight. I had Dern. Joey, I find it funny how a lot of people hopped off the bandwagon of Khamzat even though he won, and now on the Shavkat train when he's more beatable than Khamzat if you've seen his fights. For me, I was already on the Khamzat wagon. I was already a Khamzat believer. But after that fight, I'm even more on. I'm full-fledged Khamzat train. I mean, I already was before. I picked him to be the champ by the end of the year. Darinia, Bobblehead Bella. I don't know what that means. Esparza already beat Rose. She will get the win again, but that was so long ago. It's you know, they're much different fighters at this point in time. And I think Rose has been obviously working on her grappling, but it's hard to say. I think Justin gets it done, and he may very well get it done. Torres had good striking. What do you mean? She just doesn't have power. I think her striking is bad. I mean, it's okay. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just the punches is really what I'm talking about. She has good kicks, solid kicks. The punches just look terrible. So does Dern, honestly. You know, it's hard to say. You know, I get what you mean. Torres is just very well rounded, just not excellent everywhere. That's my assessment of her skill set. I do think Dern can sub anyone in the top 5. I would agree with that. If she can get them down, she can sub them. So she does have a least chance. Okay, hell yeah. New Joey Khamzat went to hype to underrated in one fight. I could agree with that. I remember asking you if Jorge will be a Hall of Famer. What do you think Cowboy's chances? I think Cowboy will be, but I don't know exactly what the UFC's criteria of that is. But they probably will put Cowboy just because he's been so active, a staple in the organization for years, had so many main events, so many big wins. I think he will be in the UFC Hall of Fame. But for me, like if I was personally making the UFC Hall of Fame, I don't know if I'd put him in there. You know, he's always coming up short in the big moments. But I get it. I get the way they do it. I think he probably will get in there. Volk versus top 5 lightweights. Okay, I'll tell you. I think he can very well beat Oliveira, and I would probably even pick him over Oliveira. Does he beat Dustin Poirier? I don't know, man. All the matchups are toss-ups, honestly. I think he can beat Oliveira, but I think Oliveira can easily beat him as well. Dustin Poirier, would Dustin be too big for Volk? That'd be a very interesting fight. I pick Volk over Dustin, though. Justin Gaethje's going to be a very tough fight. I'd probably go Justin Gaethje over Volk. Islam over Volk. Nah, I'd probably go Volk over Islam. I think he'd be able to stuff the takedowns and outstrike him. Volk beats Dariush. Volk versus Chandler would be a lot of fun, but I'd go Volk over Chandler as well. So it's a very interesting. There's so many great matchups. Burns versus Bobblehead Bilal. I've learned a lot about fight fans since 273. Some people stick behind their fighter and spew bogus narratives. similar to politics. Fair enough. It happens all the time. Rose still has wrestling deficiencies. She would get held down for 5 rounds more than likely. It's very possible. I gotta look into it more, watch more recent fights, and just make my decision. I'm kind of tossed up on that fight. Let me see. Hold on one second. But yeah, it's very possible. It's very possible that she does get out wrestled. But Carla's striking is bad. Carla's striking is very bad. So if it stays on the feet, she's going to get beat. Askar Askarov versus Alex Perez. Thoughts? I like the fight. I'll probably go Alex Perez. I'll never trust Askar Askarov to get a win again. Didn't Alex Perez miss weight? He was supposed to fight Matt Schnell like 60 times and it never happened. I'm on Carla by decision. Fair enough. I think it's either Rose by stoppage or Carla by decision. Dern was unimpressive to say the least. I agree. Who do you think is most likely to have a late career resurgence similar to Bisping and Glover? Who do you think is most likely to have a late career resurgence? Late career resurgence. I don't know. I wish you would have gave me some options. I'll say Rafael Dos Anjos. Rafael Dos Anjos. There you go. Usman versus Volk. I mean, that's egregious. That's never going to happen. That wouldn't be competitive. What's going on, VT? Hope you're doing well. Rose had good wrestling against the Chinese machine Zhang Weili, so that was impressive. Yeah, exactly. That, but I think she was taken down. She controlled Weili on the ground a little bit, didn't she? I got to go back and watch those fights. It's been a little bit. So, evening, everyone. How are you all? I'm doing good, Kevin. How are you doing, Kevin? We're all doing good. Guys, keep the questions coming. Don't forget to like the stream. We already talked about UFC 273. We talked about Chimaev versus Colby, which I really, really want to happen, but I don't think is going to happen. I don't think Colby's going to take that fight, but I really do want to see it. Let's talk about Bellator 277 a little bit. I made a prediction video. It's on the channel. You guys can check it out. Aj Mckee versus Patricio. Wait, is it Patrici or Patricio? I always forget now. Let me go look on I did a video and I always confuse the two brothers. So let me just double check this real quick. Aj Mckee versus, it is Patricio. Okay. Aj Mckee versus Patricio Pitbull. Let's actually do a poll on the channel. Who wins at Bellator 277? Mckee or Pitbull? Guys, I did a prediction on the channel. I encourage you guys to go check it out after the stream. But it's this Friday, Bellator 277. I will be live streaming the event. It's a great Bellator card. I encourage you to join me for the live stream. I encourage you to watch the event. It's a great fight between two top-level featherweights. And I just think it comes down to, can Pitbull get on the inside and land his power shots? I think he's going to come out. I think he's going to try to chop the legs. I think he's going to be a little bit more cautious. But I just think Aj Mckee is so good. He's so young. He has the height. He has the reach advantage. He has the youth advantage. I just don't know how Pitbull gets it done. And I picked Pitbull in the first fight. Aj Mckee has great power in his hands. He's very fast. He's very well-rounded. He's just so good, and I think, he's potentially going to make his way to the UFC. People constantly, and I talk about this in the prediction video, people constantly pretend like Bellator is some minor leagues. I get that the pool of talent is not as deep. There's not as many great fighters, but there is plenty of great fighters within Bellator that could easily compete with the top 10 of the UFC in any division for the most part. I mean, I'm not picking and going through each division, but you get the point. There's a lot of divisions for for Bellator that have top talent. And Aj Mckee, Pitbull is there's two of them right there. And if Aj Mckee goes out there and defeats Pitbull at featherweight again, he knocked him out and submitted him in the first fight. Walked off early, and then the ref didn't stop. It was a weird scenario. Then, after that, now it's been a little bit of a layoff. My guess is there's been some contract negotiations going on. Now he's going to fight Pitbull in the rematch. And if he beats him again, he retains the featherweight belt. And I think Pitbull's brother is the 155-pound champion. And I think Pitbull's brother, Patricio Pitbull, is an easier matchup than Patricio. I think Patricio is better. And so I think Aj Mckee will go up to lightweight. I think he'll snatch the lightweight belt. He'll be the double champion, maybe defend one time, and then he's potentially out of his contract. Because Aj Mckee said today on the MMA Hour that he's fulfilling the championship clause and he has not re-signed with Bellator. So what that means, for those of you who don't know, some of you guys don't know this exists, but it exists with the UFC. And I guess there can be little minute changes with each contract, but my understanding of it is basically what happens if you fight out your deal, right? Let's say you got your last fight on your deal. Mckee is on those 3 fights. So he could potentially fight it out. He's been vocal about wanting to fight in the UFC one day. Some guys, regardless of how Bellator is or isn't, um, you know, they want to come fight in the UFC. It's just a bigger promotion. They get more exposure, and I would love to see McGee. I would love to see McKee against the top 5 at UFC featherweight. Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway. And I know McKee has said some funky things about Volkanovski, like I wasn't impressed and blah blah blah. He's just saying that kind of to troll a little bit. He's impressed with Volkanovski. He knows some of these top featherweights could easily give him a run for his money. And I'm super excited for Bellator on Friday. So guys, make sure you join me. Let me know in the chat who's joining me for my Bellator 277 stream. Who is joining me for my Bellator 277 stream? Let me know in the chat. Good evening, Joey. How is you? I'm good. I'm doing great. Great to hear. The way Volk fights, he's eventually going to get flatlined. I disagree. He doesn't get hit a whole lot. I mean, thoughts on Aljo talking about Big John on Ariel's show? I did see that clip. And, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I don't like Big John. I only seen a little bit. I don't know if Aljo said more. Maybe that was the entire thing that I did see. But Big John's entitled to have his own opinion. I think Big John always thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, which comes off very annoying. But in the clip I saw, Aljamain Sterling's, saying, "Oh, what have you ever done?" and blah 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 blah. Like, we don't need to attack people like that just because you don't agree with their opinion. You don't know how many times when I saw that from Aljo, I cringed a bit, and I don't even like Big John McCarthy. What have you ever done at the highest level? We are allowed to have opinions on things that we've never done before. You don't know how many comments I get, every so often. I mean, every MMA YouTuber gets it. What have you ever done? Have you ever fought in UFC? You don't know what you're talking about. We can have opinions. We are discussing it for fun, most of us. And at the end of the day, if I was Aljo, I wouldn't care. I'd be laughing all the way to the bank. Why would I me personally, I wouldn't give Big John McCarthy any airtime as the champion of the UFC. Now you're talking about him. More people are going to go check out his show now. So I think it's counterintuitive. And at the end of the day, I don't agree with what Big John says half the time. I don't like Big John. Just let him talk. I mean, I don't know how anybody watched Josh Thompson or Big John McCarthy anyway. I find them a little bit insufferable. But, it is what it is. If I was Aljo, I think it was a mistake talking about him. She finished the 5th controlling Zhang. That's what wanted the belt. Fair enough. Can I get your early predictions for the co-main and main of UFC 275? UFC 275 is Yuri versus Glover. I think that's a 50-50 fight, but I think that could go either way. Either Glover gets flatlined or potentially Glover takes down Yuri Prohaska and out-grapples him and beats him up on the ground and wins the fight, which is a very likely possibility, I think. I've flipped and flopped back and forth. Either Yuri gets the KO or Glover TKOs him or submits him on the ground. Both are very possible. Co-main event, got to go Valentina Shevchenko. I think she beats Talia Santos. But the laws of averages, she's eventually going to lose, for sure. So, best matchups for top bantamweights: Yan, Merab, Sandhagen, Aldo, etc. Okay, best matchups for top bantamweights. I go Aljamain Sterling, Piotr Yan, 3. I go TJ Dillashaw, Jose Aldo. And I go Sandhagen versus Merab. Or Merab versus Song Yadong and Sandhagen versus Cruz. So there you go. Let me know what you think of those matchups. I've never watched before. Hello, what's going on? 90% of Bellator is awful. Usually one of a couple fights are worth watching. I disagree. Yeah, run up the likes, guys. Run up the likes on the stream. I would greatly appreciate it. Jake Paul could be a ranked fighter in Bellator. I disagree. Dude, Bellator tickets are like $50. That's awesome. Every time I discover a new MMA channel, I might ask one question to decide whether or not they're good or not. Who should have won, Jones versus Reyes? I think it's a very close fight. It could have gone either way. I think Glover has a solid chance to nullify Yuri with the grappling. Exactly. And I think he has a solid chance to wreck him on the ground, full mount, ground and pound with the grappling as well. Big John and Thompson come off as pretentious. Perfect. I picked Piotr to win, but I thought Aljo did deserve at least one 10-8 round in that fight. I don't think he deserved a 10-8 round. I think people scoring that a 10-8 round are crazy. So, fair enough. I like to hear your opinion, but I disagree. There's no 10-8 there. The NBA recently restructured their playoff format to increase competition. In your opinion, is there anything UFC can do to improve their product? I'm sure there is, but I don't know what it is. Off the top of my head, but there's definitely things they can do to improve. Better pacing, better fight night cards. Some of these fight night cards coming up are just atrocious. It's one of those things. Well, that guy is leaving. It is what it is. Where, I get people, there's people, there's people that have commented on some of my videos or some of my streams and have said, I'm unsubscribing. And don't get me wrong, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. But if my opinion makes you want to leave a comment saying that, oh, I'm going to unsubscribe, this is a crappy channel, then I say unsubscribe then. If you don't enjoy the content, I don't want you to watch the content. If you don't want to watch it, you don't like it, I don't want you here. I want a fun MMA community of people who can intelligently discuss MMA in a civil manner. And if you're not able to do that, then I don't want you to be part of the community. So if you enjoy the content, we can disagree and we can still discuss it in a civil manner. So that's the way I see. Not that I'm saying that guy is that, but you guys get the point. He is homework. He's part of the cult. What cult? What does that mean? I know it must be Reyes 3-2. I know fights are subjective, but come on. I watched it. I thought it could have went either way. Joey, what's up, Chrissy? Piotr never dominated Aljo in the fight anywhere near Aljo did to him in the second or third round. But that's not how fights are scored. Joey, I have a question. Who do you see as the real bantamweight champ, Yan or Sterling? Yan earning the bantamweight title but never defending it, or Sterling who was giving the title and defended against Yan? That is very weird. That is a very weird scenario. But I don't know, man. I guess Sterling is the real bantamweight champion. There's nothing we can say about it. The judges are the ones there to decide whether I disagree with it or not. It is what it is. I personally, and I have not rewatched it, and I want to rewatch it to adjust my opinion. I thought that Piotr Yan won the first round. All the other rounds were clear cut. So I had Yan, but it is what it is. That's not what happened. Aljo did not score a 10-8 round. I agree. F the haters, Joey. Agree. Aljo Yan to round 1 is subjective. Burns Chimaev round 3 is subjective. I don't think any of the first 3 rounds of Jones Reyes was subjective. Okay. My last comment. You're gonna have to re-comment it. I don't even see it on here, so I don't even see it, my friend. Aljo versus Jan was not a robbery. I know it's easy for me to say, but Jan should have started fighting in round 1 the way he fought in round 4. Smart aggression. I agree. It's his own fault for the inactivity in round 1. So you can't blame anybody but himself for losing the fight. And it's crazy. I mean, I thought that Aljo is a legit contender. I was very confident that Petr Yan would win, and I'm actually very confident in Petr Yan to win a rematch against Aljamain Sterling after that. Let's see. You seem like a reasonable guy. I might stay. Well, fair enough. We're happy to have you if you want to be part of the community. Become a member. You won't regret it. Yeah, guys, if anybody wants to become a member, the link is down in the description. It's $3 a month. You get to be part of our members-only Discord chat where we discuss MMA every single day, all day long. You get a loyalty badge next to your name. You get custom emojis to use in the live chat and comments, including the Khamzat Chimaev emoji, Conor McGregor emoji, Dana White yelling emoji, a bunch of different emojis that you can use. And you also get extra live stream replays. I do extra live streams during the week, and the replays for members only. I do a couple of those, at least a couple a month for members. So guys, become a member. The link is down in the description. Let's see. Woo lad, thank you for the donation. I appreciate you. Jan clearly won 4 illegitimate champs. What are the other 4 illegitimate champs? But I personally had Jan win. Oh, here, let me show that while I'm on here. I thought Jan won. I thought he won round 1, 3, and 4. I thought it was clear cut, but I always have to rewatch because sometimes I realign my opinion. But right now, I agree with you, but I don't know who the 4 illegitimate champs are. So, but thank you for the donation. I greatly appreciate it. Everyone is posting the custom emojis, members only emojis. Lots of robberies this year are super close, like Gon and Ganu, but stuff like Dern Torres are quite clear robberies. I think a lot of it is subjective. I think a lot of it is super subjective. If TJ and Aljo fight next, will the fight end in a finish? Yes, TJ will finish Aljo. Ngannou Glover on PEDs, Izzy Ngannou. Ngannou versus Gon was a close fight. I thought Ngannou won the fight. Glover, I mean, what do we have? What information do we have that he's on PEDs? Izzy, very close fight, razor close fight, but he won. So I don't think necessarily they're illegitimate champions. Let's see. Khamzat was exposed at 273, glass jaw, bad stamina, awful head movement. He isn't the monster we thought he was. He was an overhyped train. He impressed me. At UFC 273. Aljo won stalling, terrible fights for fans. I mean, that third round was awful. Hey, what's up, Joey? Thoughts on Ian Gary versus Kevin Holland? I wouldn't mind seeing it. Sign me up. I like that fight. Joey, do you think Khamzat is ready for Usman? I don't think so. I think he needs much more experience. I feel like he should fight the winner of Luque Muhammad too. I don't think Colby's going to fight him, though. I think he's ready to fight Usman. It's now or never. He's still young, but he can still get better. But I say you beat a guy like Gilbert Burns, go fight Usman. Let's see what you got. Make adjustments. You learned a lot in that fight. I'd be down to see that. He had to win 3 rounds first. I don't know what that's about. All right, guys, I have to cut out a little bit early today, guys. I appreciate you guys all for joining me. 79% is picking Aj Mckee for Bellator 277. I will be streaming on Friday for Bellator 277. Join me there. If you guys want to talk MMA outside of this, become a member. Link is down in the description. Or go follow me on Twitter at MMAJoeyC and Instagram at MMAJoeyC. Do not forget to like the stream before you go. I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for joining me. I will talk to you guys on Friday during the Bellator 277 stream. Enjoy the rest of your